go ahead and feel over this. And what I want to hear from somebody is I want you to tell me what they think scale is. What is scale? What does that mean? The scale. Okay, think about scale on the map. How many of you guys do models? What does it mean by the scale?
Size of a model compared to the real size.
Yeah, it's a comparison of two things. We're comparing the actual size to our model size. That's really all the scale is. It's a ratio or comparison of the model to the actual. That's all it really is. Now, when we talk about scales, especially in our science, we talk about large scales and small scales. So I need 4 volunteers, please.
Yes.
You guys won, I need 3 more. Todd and Enrique, and I need 1 more, and Cassidy. Good, come on up, boys. Alright, you two get this one, go that direction and stretch it out. You two have...
Yeah, got it.
No.
Too far, boys, come back this way. So it's in front of the class. Okay. Hopefully that's upright. Good. Alright, so guys, we had 2 maps up here. On one map, we had the United States. On the other map, we have Glacier National Park. 2 different maps with 2 different scales. When we look at the map of the United States, our scale, usually it's up here, is about 1 inch for every 50 miles. When we look at this map, our scale is actually quite different. On this map, our scale is about 1 inch for every half. So, understanding that, we have large scale and small scale maps. Which one do you think is the large scale?
This one.
Why?
Because it's showing the entire United States.
Showing you what?
The entire United States.
The entire United States. So which one's showing more area? As a class, think about this one. Which one's showing more area? The area of the United States or the area of the Glacier National Park? Which one's showing more area on the map? Definitely the United States. Let's hopefully get that one right, okay? Now, our Glacier National Park map has a much smaller area to cover. Now, next question. Which one shows more detail? Glacier definitely has a lot more detail on the map. Now, that's really important when we talk about our 2 scales. Large scale, you are basically covering a very large area, but you get very little detail. On a small scale map, we get a lot of detail, but we really can't cover that much area because of the detail. And that's basically what I want you to know about those 2 scales. Large scale, large area, little detail. Small scale, you have a smaller area, but you have a lot of detail. That's something to make sure you write down. Thank you, boys.
Juice teacher.
So again, just to kind of make sure we're understanding this completely. With large scale, you have a large area. In this case, our map here is the whole world. So we're not getting a lot of detail. We come down to small scale, and we have a very small area. Does anybody recognize this area? Well done, it is Gary. Okay. So, very small area, a lot of detail. So let's talk about using scale. This is kind of important that we should learn how to read a map. This is what we're actually going to be doing tomorrow, as we'll need to be able to read maps. Question?
What?
Question? So on here, I had this little map, little make-believe map. And let me bring up our little tool here. That's our little ruler. Okay, now we're going to be asked to do a couple things. One, our first example is asking us to find the ground distance from the old schoolhouse to Bumblebee. Okay, so where is the old schoolhouse? Yeah, it's right in the middle of the map. It's right here. Where is Bumblebee?
God bless.
All the way up here, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is take our ruler. We're going to rotate it up to Bumblebee. And Bumblebee is how many units away? Yeah, we'll say 11. That's good. All right, so we're 11 units away. I'm not sure what those are. Those are centimeters, I think, but we'll say 11 units. All right, so well, what is my scale? So you see this little mark right here, right? That's my scale. So I want to write down a couple things here. We know that's 11 units. But what does it mean by ground distance? Yeah, it wants to know that in miles, right? When we say map distance, that's the units. That's how many inches or centimeters that they are away. We're talking about ground distance is the actual mileage between the two. Okay. So we're 11 units away. I might need to measure my scale. So for every 4 units, how many miles is that? 5. All right, so that's kind of important. So it's 5 miles over 4 units. Does that make sense? That's our scale of this particular map. So how do I use that information then to answer that question? What would I use? What could I use mathematically to allow me to solve that problem? How? You guys ever set up proportions before? Yeah, should. Most of you should have done that at some point. So if we use the scale, 5 miles over 4 units. What's the value down here at the bottom?
Units.
Units. So this one also has to have units. So that's where my 11 units is going to go. And what are we trying to figure out? The unknown miles. How do we solve proportions?
Cross
Cross multiply. So we get 55 equals 4x. And what do we do to solve for x? So x is 55 over 4. Which is... Should not be that difficult to figure that out. Should be 14 1/4, is that right?
Should be
13.75 cents. So 13.75 miles. Now, do you understand that process? So you use the scale and set up the proportion, cross multiply and divide. Let's try that again.